this video, we're going to look at how to solve an equation by hand using some algebra. So there's some general steps, and if you follow the steps, you typically end up with the right answer because they just help you to get the equation solving technique in order. So first, if there's going to be parentheses in the problem, do the distributive property. And second, if there's anything that you can combine, either on the left of the equals or the right of the equals, not moving across the equals, but just simplifying, cleaning up on the left or the right, you want to combine those like terms. Third, you want to use addition and or subtraction to get the variable terms on one side and the constant terms on the other side. This is what we traditionally think of as solving because we have to do the opposite here. And so this is that inherent technique that we need. And then finally, we'll end up using multiply or divide, but we do have to hold off on using that until the very end of the problem. So let's look at a couple examples and see if we can put this into practice. So this first example, we have 3x plus 7 equals to x plus 21. And first off, there's no parentheses in this, so there's no distributive property. So step one that we talked about doesn't apply here. Likewise, step two, when I look at the left-hand side with the 3x plus 7, those are not like terms. One has a variable, one does not. So no simplifying. Same thing, x plus 21 on the right-hand side. I can't simplify it all. So I'm the whole way down at step 3 already, where I want to get the variables together and the constants together using addition and or subtraction. Personally, I recommend working with the variables first. And so I have 3x on the left, I have x on the right. I want to put them together. This x that is on the right-hand side is positive. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract it. And I do that on both sides of the equal, the left and the right, to keep the equation balanced. And here on the right-hand side, these guys cancel out. So 1x minus 1x, 0, nothing. On the left, 3x minus x is going to be 2x because that's really an unspoken 1 there in front of this. So I would have it 3 minus 1 is 2. I didn't touch the plus 7, so that's still there. My equal stays locked in the middle of the equation, and this is equal to 21. Now, the 7 and the 21 are both constant terms, and they're separated by that equal sign, so I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to minus 7 on the left and the right of the equals. On the left-hand side, plus 7 and minus 7 cancel, so that side is just 2x. And on the right-hand side, I do the math, so 21 minus 7 is 14. Now, I have accomplished step 3 because my variable term, 2x, is on one side. My constant term of 14 is on the opposite side of the equal, and so I'm ready for the multiply or divide step. Since it is multiplication, I want to do the opposite, so I will divide by 2 on both sides. And this will give me x is equal to 7. And so that's how I solved that equation. All the steps, I showed all my work. If you're able to do a couple steps together or you're able to do a step in your head or something like that, you're welcome to do that. But if you need to write it all out, that's also no problem. So when I say show your work, it truly can be your work. It doesn't have to match mine. Our next example is a little bit more involved. So immediately when I see this, I see the parentheses, and parentheses are my cue to do distributive properties. So distributive property is when you take the number in front and you multiply it to every single piece that's in the parentheses. So to start this problem, I'm going to rewrite the 3 minus 5x. Didn't do any changes on that side of the equal sign. Have my equals. I have the 3. That was the first term there. And then I have to do this math. So I'm going to have a plus sign. And I'm multiplying 4 times 5, so that's 20. And I'm multiplying 4 times x, so that I again have a plus sign, and I have 4. Now, if I look at my steps to solving an equation, the next step is to combine like terms. And so over here on the left, 3 and negative 5x are not like terms. One's a variable, one's a constant. However, on the right-hand side, the number 3 and the number 20 are both constants. And it's going to be easier to work with this equation if I just do the math for those. So I'm not doing the opposite. I'm literally just cleaning up by doing the little bit of math that I can. So this would be 23 plus 4x. Now I'm at step 3 in the equation solving process, and for me, I like to get my variable terms together first. I personally like to eliminate any negatives, and so I see the negative 5x on the left-hand side, so I'm going to do the opposite and say plus 5x, and I have to do the same thing to both sides in order to move a term across the equals. So on the left, the negative 5x and positive 5x cancel, so I have 3 is equal to 23 plus 9x. Now I have another step of work to do at this level because I have the 3 and I have the 23, and both of those are constant terms, so they need to get together. So I have to move the 23, even though it's going to give me a negative, because I have to get the variable term of 9x by itself. So I'm going to minus 23 from both sides. And so I have negative 20, have my equal sign, which never moves, always stays in the center of the problem. These guys cancel, and so that's equal to 9x. And so now I have on the left a constant term, on the right a variable term, and I'm ready to move to that last step where I'm able to do multiply or divide. And in this case, I want to divide because it is multiplied, and I always want to do the opposite. So my 9 cancel, and I have x over on the right. And on the left-hand side, I have a decimal, and you can put that in your calculator. If WebAssign tells you how to round, then you want to put that on your calculator and round it off. If WebAssign wants an exact answer, then you would like to type this as negative 20 divided by 9. So on your calculator, you might put negative 20 divided by 9 if you need to get a decimal. And when you do that, you would get negative 2.2 repeating. And so you could round that 2.2, 2.22, etc., however you're directed, or you could give this answer just as it is in fraction form, so negative 20 over 9. Both ways would be correct in my mind, but you do need to follow directions in WebAssign in order for the computer to give you credit for that.